Clutch came up short versus Counterlogic Gaming just yesterday, or in Detroit rather, as just yesterday Clutch took down Flyquest to move on for the rematch here today. Worlds is on the line and they get another shot at a best of 5 here. Hello everyone and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 15 minutes we say goodbye to Flyquest and preview the third place match until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champions Select. Now yesterday Clutch Gaming took the series versus Flyquest in 4 games, meaning the winner of their series goes up against Counterlogic Gaming today, and then facing TSM tomorrow, whoever comes out on top for this one. Third and final spot at the World Championship is on the line for these North American teams. And with their loss yesterday, Flyquest wrap up their 2019 season, which means it's time to say goodbye in RIP Flyquest.
Hello, my name Wadid.
Hello, my name Wadid.
Okay. I'm good. My name Wadid.
Standing on the edge, I see starting point where there's no limit. Look up, I'm done with looking down. People told me not to dream, to live in their reality, but I am walking through those doors, 'cause I am sure there's something more than what I've been told. Oh, I know I'll find my way, even if they tell me that it's make-believe. Oh, tomorrow's a brand new day.
These Popotes are gonna die to minions?
And the whole world is gonna know my name.
I died. I just died to creeps.
It's definitely a tough loss for Flyquest as their final opportunity to extend their postseason and make it to the World Championship. But I think, what we can say is despite their loss, that they definitely didn't go down without a fight against Clutch yesterday.
They pushed them hard, but in the context of their year as well, they had a pretty nice spring. So at least they know that they had some fire in them. And that fire did almost beat Clutch in Game 4, where they took Baron and just lost the game right away.
Yeah, Game 1 was super close. Game 2 they won, and Game 4, like you said, if they took the Baron and played a little differently from there, they could have won that game as well. And as a result, Clutch Gaming was actually tested and forced to show a lot of their picks that we, and probably they were hoping that they could hold until this CLG series. We saw Huni on Gnar, we saw the Caitlyn Morgana bot lane, and they had to play really well to actually pick up that series.
Yeah, I think the Gnar is a big talking point there, right? We, weren't so hot on the Karma top that had shown up in that third place match. The only time it did show up for Clutch was actually in the mid lane. And then, of course, here, Huni on the Gnar now showing another one of his playmaking picks from the top lane.
And my problem with the Karma always was the fact that in these high-stake matches, you want to put some of your best players, the most veteran players, and playmakers, give them the agency to make their own plays. And so Huni on Karma felt like he wasn't giving it as much as he can usually do on other picks. So Gnar is a champion that he can not only split push, but find an amazing team fight and do a lot for Clutch.
That said, the Yordle's out of the bag now, in a sense, and that, CLG will have that, or that preparation, or at least that time to, kind of theorize what would we end up throwing up against Gnar in the top lane. How will we now respond to the priority of Caitlyn, let's say, in the bottom lane that CLG has already shown us they want alongside that Morgana?
Yeah, it's really interesting because so much of the focus around the draft talk for Clutch Gaming has been, the 3 picks, the GP, the Rumble, and the Qiyana, but also their bot lane has been pretty set in how they want to approach the game, where they force the Xayah Rakan situation, and they pick either the Leona or the Morgana into it, and now that is going to probably take over a larger portion of this series because those bans are guaranteed. What happens in that bot lane meta?
Well, for a refresher, rather, on the last time that these teams played, let's go ahead to this week's mic check, which tunes in on the series from Detroit.
Honestly, it feels just like the exact same as LCS.
It's colder, though.
It's no different, right?
I didn't know Detroit had so many League of Legends fans.
It's Canada. They're all from Toronto.
Yep. Canada, eh? Hey. All here for Vincent.
They're all Vincent fans.
Headset is too OP, so I don't know what they're saying here.
Yeah, I heard a Huni. I heard some Huni.
You're saying Huni is so hot.
I mean, what's new?
What's new? Nothing.
Nothing's new.
We're fighting bot. Don't. Does he have flash?
We don't know.
I don't know. I'm not gonna go. They're avoiding. Just push the top tower module. I got one. should do it. I'll stop all. Aatrox and Gragas. There's only Ezreal. Only Ezreal.
Play with the Kai'Sa.
He can't lose here.
He got it.
Kill them all! Quadra kill. Yo, Cody, do it.
I just did it for you, bro.
I did it, boys.
Oh, no, back.
Oh, you guys are.
Can we engage on this guy?
Yeah.
Watch. You have to be so.
I'm done.
Come back.
Henry can come. It's 4v5, by the way. 4v5.
He's gonna go, maybe?
Good.
Yeah, we can look. Oh,
Yes, Luke
Scratch. Yeah, play with Rakan. Rakan.
Diana here.
Rakan, Diana. I'm good. Hit front. You guys will wipe.
Guys, by the way, they're gonna be really cocky,
yeah.
so we can actually still come back.
We still have.
I'm going. Victor, everyone.
We're gonna wipe them. Okay. Flyquest on your left. Dash stop watches, okay?
Yes, lose this. Run. I'm back.
Oh,
I can still go.
Yeah.
Irelia. Go. Kill this guy. He flash.
I can still go.
One is.
Yo, get him.
Look, Kai'Sa. Watch Kai'Sa.
Don't
Watch Kai'Sa.
Okay. Help.
Dance.
Yo, done.
Careful, Aatrox.
Left side.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
sorry, Rakan.
Oh, shit.
I'm getting top for free.
We win this.
Okay. Yo, Karma's coming. Okay, guys?
Kill him. Oh my god.
I'm just getting top plates, guys. They're going. I've They're inting.
Leona. I missed everything.
Aurelia's behind us.
Yeah, kill him. He's dead.
I got my first kill. Yeah, my first kill.
No, I
Trolled.
don't die, guys. I'm sorry.
What the wrong with you, Trevor?
A feels-good win there for CLG coming off of that series. You know, we talk about momentum for Clutch. I think we also have to talk about momentum for CLG, having gotten the better of this matchup the first time around. They'll be quite confident, rather, coming in this time around.
And Wiggily had a really nice feeling on the pulse of the series, knowing that Clutch Gaming was going to be overconfident after such a commanding victory in Game 2, that put him high enough on the pedestal to just knock him down and send him crashing into a Game 5.
Without a doubt. Before today's clash, though, CLG's jungle minced no words. This is the match that decides the number 3 seed at Worlds.
I think that TSM isn't as big of a pushover that people are saying they are, but I do think that us and Clutch are probably a slightly above them right now. I'd probably say our match, I think if we play as good as I think we can, and we have the momentum going into TSM, I do think that this match will probably decide who goes to Worlds. So it's pretty important, I think, that we get a lot of momentum and not only just win, but we win decisively, so that we kind of have okay, we know we're good, type of mentality.
Words were not minced. They were not sliced, diced, shredded, or anything the like. But with Clutch Gaming's next top lane pick shown, will this rematch, between Clutch and CLG go to the full 5 games like it did in Detroit?
For me, it's kind of hard to say because the Detroit series was really weird, where it didn't feel like either team's best coincided against each other. Game 2, CLG is playing the weird assassins, the Dianas and Kianas in the mid lane, which we don't associate with them. Then they fix their draft and they ban out a lot of Clutch Gaming's best picks, who then go to that Karma pick that nobody really liked. And then CLG is playing those, control mages in the mid lane. And so neither team felt like they were getting the drafts they really wanted at any point in the series at the same time. And so it makes it hard for me to sit there and say that was really indicative of what's going to happen today.
I mean, CLG ended up winning with a YOLO draft on Game 3, 4, and 5, right? They busted out the Thresh, no games, or even the Ahri, no practice on the Ahri for PoE. He didn't even play a solo queue game this year of that pick. So they just busted out saying we need confidence on our side. So to predict how far this series is going to go, considering that when it happened, it was all about the confidence in the picks, regardless of the practice, makes it a lot harder to figure out if this is going to be a blowout or a Game 5.
Let's talk about some key players then. First and foremost, I think Cody Sun, our player of the series from yesterday, is definitely going to have a spotlight on him today.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic yesterday. He was fantastic in that series. Great in the TL1. He's been great all playoffs long. He's definitely on a hot streak. And like we're saying, with this evolution of the bot lane meta around the Xayah Rakan and all the counter picks that can pop up, this feels like the position where it will most likely be won or lost because of how good Cody has been in late game team situations.
I think the big deal here is Caitlyn was shown by Clutch Gaming. In the 3rd place match, Caitlyn was a pick that was banned by Clutch Gaming, already recognizing that CLG has a priority on this pick. It's very valuable to them. So now they've picked up the tools that were used to defeat them. I think they're going to be able to add this with the Morgana that they've also added to make a really spicy bottom lane, because now you have Vio with the Thresh as well. So I feel like before it was all about Rumble and Qiyana, and now we're zeroing in entirely on bottom lane, which is fair.
Well, let's talk bot lane then a little bit more. Biofrost, picked up player of the series in Detroit, was instrumental, as you've already mentioned here, Crumbs, in that reverse sweep and coming back into it.
Yeah, Biofrost is probably, I'd say, the star of the team. If you had to pick one player on CLG, he's really exciting to watch as a support because he gives you kind of core JJ vibes of, oh, is he going to bust out something new and be very stylish around it and kind of command the team to victory. But on the flip side, if he doesn't get ahead in the laning phase, you're really not seeing him come out with those performances, which is something that someone like Core does.
And that's why we want to see him on ranged supportive champions, because they have a little bit stronger of a laning phase, and he is better when he has that kind of ability early on to start dictating the laning phase versus, you know, playing something like an Alistar and waiting for his opportunities the way some other players do. So for me, I'm really excited about the bot lane and where that's going to go, because it feels like I'm expecting CLG on blue side to just start with where they ended last series and see where we go from there.
All right, well, for their rematch, the coaches shared their thoughts ahead of today.
Yeah, like I said, because all the other teams are either already going to their boot camps or they're on vacation, you know, we've basically just been training against each other. So it's really hard to hide picks, because even if you don't show one to a certain team, eventually it works its way around the circle, you know, between TSM and FlyQuest and us and Clutch. So, I mean, mostly what we learned yesterday is that Huni is still really good at Gangplank.
I think 2 weeks ago, we would think that the winner of this match would probably be TSM and go to Worlds, but we just saw how much better FlyQuest got, and it's a pretty good promise to think that TSM also got a lot better. So whoever wins this game or wins today is going to go against TSM, and TSM might be a much better team, a renewed team, and it's going to be another best of 5 where anyone can win.
All right, expressing a little caution there for the opponent that awaits them tomorrow, saying, hey, if FlyQuest improved as much as they did in that month's period of time, then TSM could have a like improvement. But
anyone can win. What a, fun soundbite.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. All right, well, when it comes to winning this series here today, I want to know what each of these teams needs to do. So win conditions, let's go ahead and start with CLG.
I think I want them to start kind of where they ended the previous series, as well as pick Camille versus the Gnar that you see coming. So you know that you want to ban those 3 champions. We talked about it so much around Clutch Gaming. They finally picked up some wins on some other stuff, most notably the Gnar. So come in ready with a heavy counter pick. We've seen it already from Rune, who has been able to find some wins on Camille. This is another great matchup for Camille, where you have a lot of kill threat after you survive the initial part of the game. And you have such a stable bot lane for the most part that usually don't get blown out. So pick a good bot lane, good scaling mid, and find that counter pick in the top lane.
All right, what's the response for Clutch?
Number one thing, do not tilt. It cannot happen. They have to stay level-headed, because if they don't, they're going to lose a series, just as it happened last time. Secondly is that I think they need to go with a draft priority in the bottom lane. Make sure that your bottom lane has a strong matchup every single time, and try to sprinkle in some Corki and Azir bans. If you can get PoE off of his comfort picks, I think they're going to get a lot of bang for their buck in the draft. Should be enough to just pilot their normal Clutch Gaming ship and take them to victory.
All right, in the second go-around of Clutch versus CLG, who do you have coming out on top? We do have Darshan joining us later in the day to break down the games as they happen, so we'll throw his prediction up on the board. It is CLG in 3-2 fashion. Scoreline is his prediction there. What do you think, Chris?
I'm going Clutch Gaming. I think Clutch Gaming should have had it the first time around, and they will not make the same mistakes again.
Do you think that they would close it out in a 3-0?
No,
you know?
no, okay. In a game you want to score, I think 3-1. I want to go and not go with the Game 5.
All right, sounds good. And finally,
I said Clutch Gaming all week. I flip-flop after seeing the performance versus FlyQuest, how close that was. Going CLG 3-2. I think side selection is going to be super important with what you're able to ban, and so they should win all their blue side games, but really struggle on red side.
Mark Zimmerman, the perennial Clutch hater. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from, Mark. I don't know. All right, with that, it's time to get into the game, so we're throwing it out to the Battle Arena.
Hello, hello. Thank you, Dash, and welcome to what should be quite the best of 5 here, chat. CLG and Clutch again in about 2 weeks, but this time there's a shot at Worlds on the line.
And Mark just had to go ahead and flip off the last second, like he always does. But really, I'm looking forward to seeing this one again. We got to see Clutch really steamroll CLG for the first 2 games of the 3rd place match 2 weeks ago, but then we got to see CLG bounce back in a big way. And as the coaches alluded to during the interviews, even though they don't directly scrim each other, because there's such a small scrim pool, they know each other's champion pool. So this is kind of the teams already figuring each other out and we'll end up seeing really who is truly the better team rather than who just surprised someone with the pick.
It's definitely rare to get this much data, I feel like, on a team, both internally in your practice and getting to play them on such a big stage. So should be quite the series. You have to think that teams are coming in prepared, and as no surprises here to kick off the first draft. Rumble Qiyana banned by CLG.
Yeah, and we're going to see if there's also an Azir ban coming through from Clutch Gaming, because there are a lot of priority picks. We actually got to see Skarner kind of emerge as a first pickable champion in the first series between these two teams, and actually the Caitlyn ban is the one that ends up rising in priority, trying to get that bot lane dominance.
That's a ton of respect there to Stixxay and Biofrost. They're taking out the Caitlyn. So we'll see where CLG want to go with their first pick. They did ban Akali as their last, Yuumi and Corki the other two. But we've seen a lot of different first picks, and you mentioned Azir. It was the only one left unbanned, so it is the first pick.
I mean, it is a little bit surprising the Clutch decided not to go for it, but by giving over the Azir, they do get two other priority picks of their own. With the Caitlyn ban, they're able to get Xayah for themselves as well as Skarner. And this could be CLG going back to a tried and true. Woo!
I mean, I thought letting Xayah, Rakan, and Skarner all through might be risky, but they have a plan here. Sona Taric on the CLG side, and we are done with phase one.
Yeah, Sona Kench is the CLG variant. It's the one they played the most of. This is actually stronger in the early and mid game and not as strong in the late game. Look for Biofrost Tahm Kench to try and make some big plays. However, I do want to point out, Biofrost is 1-5 on Tahm Kench so far in the summer. So even if they have won a game with Sona Kench, generally speaking, the Kench has not been that great for CLG.
Biofrost certainly has been a strong force for CLG all season long, but all his best games are like, yeah, he's playing range supports and playmaking, which is not really what we associate with a champion like Tahm Kench. So we'll see how it works out. As you said, certainly a duo they have a lot of experience with. Jace, though, will be taken out of Ruin's hands, one of his most played champions on the year. And CLG with ban number 4.
Yeah, they should get rid of Gangplank, which they do. You notice their bans are very soul lane focused against Huni and Damonte. Expect that to continue since Clutch Gaming didn't pick any soul laners in the first rotation of the draft as it is. The Irelia might be the final ban from Counterlogic Gaming, but it might not be because oftentimes they like to combo the Irelia with Sejuani, and since they already have Skarner, that combo wouldn't be possible. So I think CLG has some flexibility with this last ban.
Clutch also is taking out another one of Ruin's champions, so potentially setting up Huni for another counter pick, especially if CLG throw another ban here towards top lane. Not long left. They will decide on Sylas, so another good solo lane champion.
Yeah, that's just probably something that they're hoping to keep out of the hands of Damonte. It's an okay matchup into Azir, but like we kind of said, they have a lot of flexibility with that last ban, so not much seen there.
All right, 10 seconds now for Clutch. I have to imagine they'll either pick a flex or pick Damonte's champion, but we'll see. Perhaps they feel like Damonte is deserving of a counter pick. That is locked in.
So remember when I said these teams know each other, don't expect anyone to surprise anyone with picks. Then we see the first Sona Kench by CLG in a month, and we get to see Damonte playing Lux mid into Azir. So scratch that. They are trying to pull out all the stops in game 1.
Well, he has played it once before this year, but only once.
A whole one time.
A whole one time, so...
And he won!
He did win. 100% win rate on the Lux there, as Sejuani will be not the pick for Wiggily. They actually steal the Gnar away. Give that a head to Ruin.
Yeah, I mean, I like having Gnar in this. He can be a decent damage threat later in the game once you get there, since Sona Kench is an incredible late game, still very good, but it's the enchanter you like to buff up the Gnar with. I actually really like the team composition for 5v5s that CLG is going to have here. They're going to have really strong amounts of CC, frontline support, and just good damage. So love the composition from CLG.
Feels like Gnar actually kind of fits CLG well. Ruin was known as a big side lane player before he came over to CLG.
Yeah.
You know, always harassing people. And CLG, of course, have traditionally been a team fighting team. So Gnar kind of gives you a little bit of both. But Huni has decided that his counter pick is kind of a classic. He's going to Irelia top lane.
Yeah, and it's something that can work in a Gnar. It used to be the old school counter pick, but that was also before Irelia's entire kit was reworked. Still going to be able to close the distance on Mini Gnar earlier on in the lane, so it will be dangerous for Ruin in the first, 11 levels of the game before Gnar ends up building some defenses. So looking forward to this one.
Certainly am. Just curious to see how it all works out. Again, they stole away the Sedge, so a lot on the line here. CLG versus Clutch coming up.
Every click.
Every frame.
Every press.
Every sound.
They're playing aggressive.
I'll take mid. Every advantage.
When the difference
Between winning and losing
is measured in milliseconds.
everything.
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 Everything counts.
The Alienware Legendary Battle Station.
So it's kind of interesting here with Game 1 draft because we talk so much about how much preparation and practice these teams would have had. And as you said already, we've seen some surprises. I think if this is the first game draft and this series goes long, we will see a ton between these two teams.
Yeah, and one thing that I just want to point out is the Kench is actually being played by Stixxay, not by Biofrost. So throw out that 1-in-5 Tahm Kench Biofrost record. Now it's just a 1-in-5 CLG record with Kench. But that is interesting because ultimately in Sona Kench, it is a farm share lane. So either your AD carry or your support is going to have to play something they're a little bit less familiar with. And even though the late game carry is Sona, the early and mid game carry in this situation actually is the Kench. So Biofrost will need to stay safer on this, but it's one of the first switch ups we've actually seen in these Sona Kench lanes, seeing the Sona actually on the support.
You know, it also kind of gives us what we asked for. You know, we prefer Biofrost on the range supports that can make some plays. Sona is the champion in this duo that does that. So again, these teams have had a lot of time to prep. They've played this patch probably to its limit at this point.
Yeah, I got to point out we still are on 9:15. That was the playoffs patch, and since there is a limited amount of time from playoffs to the regional qualifier, and the matches are of such importance, the teams and the league decided to stay on 9:15 rather than playing on the 9:16 patch. It's been interesting watching all of the playoffs on the various patches. LPL has been on 9:15 throughout their entire run. LEC and LCK have been on patch 9:16. And the notable differences to me in those two patches is the strength of Corki and Azir. So, as you can see, Azir picked by PowerOfEvil in this game.
See if Damonte's semi-counter pick works out there in Lux, but looks like red side starts for both junglers. Huni already getting aggressive straight onto Ruin there. Trying to harass him down. Expect a lot of that from Huni. He loves to play aggressive in general, but this is his counter pick, so expect him to try and leverage his advantage early.
Yeah, and we'll need to pay close attention to the strong side and the weak side of the map. Wiggily started down bottom on Sejuani, so Ruin isn't expecting to do anything that early on in the laning phase. That often hasn't dissuaded him either, though. He actually leads the league in isolated deaths, but in a game of such importance, you would hope that he actually does give respect to Huni early, especially while his own jungler is on the bottom side.
Nice Devour that we just saw in the bottom lane from Stixxay, so clearly has put some practice into the champion. Also press the attack here for Huni, seeing some people change to that Keystone, but Ruin again. Just really can't afford to get into any sort of trade with the Irelia in mini form.
Yeah, to talk about the press the attack on Irelia a little bit, if it was into more of a tank matchup, you would expect the Conqueror, but in a specific kill lane, which is what Huni's trying to do, is threaten either 80-0 or 100-0 damage. The press the attack will have more damage in those instances, which is why I think he's gone with that Keystone.
Yeah, you can see Ruin kind of doing the opposite, has Fleet here just to sustain. He knows this matchup is going to be tough, and Huni is keeping bottom lane.
Whoa, that's early.
Very early. He's only level 2. All right, well, everyone's level 2 here. Vulcan going to try and find the knockup. Doesn't grab it. Biofrost with a good flash, but Huni under the tower he goes. Good Devour there from Stixxay, tanking up too many turret shots, and that goes south for Clutch.
What a huge risk they're playing early, especially because they didn't coordinate that with Lira. They could have just done a 4-man dive as Wiggily moves up as long as Lira was willing to come down with the next wave, but they force it so early. It was reliant on Huni landing his stun. He does not, so he doesn't get the Q reset. And any advantage that Huni was going to have in that lane is forfeit because that dive didn't work.
Yeah, Ruin pushes the lane and takes the free base. Walks back to lane there with the pot and his cloth armor, but you know, we thought the Clutch playbook had been exhausted. I guess we were wrong, but that was not something I expected from Huni.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of thing that you would more likely see in scrims than on stage. It's that incredibly high-risk play where if it goes wrong, it potentially sets you back a lot. But Clutch very willing to pull the trigger on it in game one. From the looks of it, Huni has stabilized the lane for now. We're going to have to see what the extended effects of this play are, though, because he is flashless and TP-less, so his ability to pressure in that lane should be limited, or Wiggily should go up there and kill him.
And of course, as we say that, Huni blade surges back towards Ruin, who's just pulling that lane. Still action in the bot side, though. Another devour from Stixxay as Biofrost constantly under attack here in the 2v2.
Yeah, he has already gone back, though, and upgraded his Speltie's Edge to a Frostfang. So as far as the gold generation goes, Biofrost well on his way. Already 255 gold earned towards that 500 he needs before he can start taking CS on his own. So avoiding the very early dive, keeping their overall CS adequate against Vulcan and Cody Sun, and so far not necessarily being punished by the level 2 teleport.
Yeah, and I think, again, the most surprising thing is that these junglers just kind of farming through. It makes sense. Both Skarner and Sejuani happy to farm up to 6 where their ganks really increase in impact, but I am surprised to see Huni go for something so bold, but it is Huni after all.
Yeah, but not in his lane. It was a situation where you felt like he was going to be able to generate lane kills of his own, but I think that was Clutch saying, we don't want to play top.
Oh, no, Biofrost! Dead to Cody Sun, barely enough feathers left to kill him.
Stixxay ran out of mana right there, so he couldn't devour 2v2 kill now Wiggily in the river.
Yeah, Damonte roaming down, gets the barrier off first. PowerOfEvil roaming over, so no kill onto Wiggily. But still, Cody and Vulcan kind of stock continues to rise here in the postseason. I feel like they've really gelled a lot as a 2v2 unit as they just get a kill straight up here.
Yeah, I mean, Biofrost up against the wall, no way of juking that shot by Vulcan. They chain it with the root, and really, I think the big misplay here is the fact that Stixxay didn't have mana. Normally, that's not a threatening situation for the Sona to be in because Kench can just devour before the damage comes through, and I think I chalk that one up to inexperience on the pick. Stixxay, not a Tahm Kench player, by the way, also not a Sona player, but clearly I think this Tahm Kench Sona switch-up is something that is fairly recent within the last 2 weeks, and you get to see on stage not saving the mana for the Devour.
PoE forced to flash. Vulcan had the knockup ready, but Damonte now going to flash out himself. Root lands, so gets the laser down. Wiggily looking for something as Ruin and Stixxay are going to TP in. Ruin misses the bounce on the hop, though, so can't really move in for the rest of the fight, but there's an Infernal up. CLG will start the objective.
Yeah, and this is actually the payoff for Huni using the teleport early on in the laning phase. Ruin able to give them the 5v4 advantage. It will be the Infernal Drake, knowing that Damonte's ult is already down.
All right, Infernal over. Clutch looking to maybe grab an exit kill, but everyone's just going to walk away safely. So first blood to Clutch, but first Drake to CLG. Game remaining fairly even as Clutch up about 500 gold, but not too much here in the early game.
Yeah, and Biofrost very vulnerable right now, still just level 4. Lost a lot of experience with that death. Cody Sun having the healing reduction, and especially the level 6 of Xayah Rakan is so threatening. Gonna be a dangerous point in the game right now before Biofrost can start farming up, especially with this lane shoving in to Clutch's tower. It's kind of going to expose CLG to an attack.
Yeah, Ignite back up for Vulcan as well. There's certainly a lot of threat here. But looks like the lane may be too big right now for Clutch to maybe make a play. We'll see once the experience ticks over for those ultimates. Is Lira ready with Impale here in mid lane, potentially going to sniff out PowerOfEvil, who doesn't have flash after the last little encounter. Good ward though from PoE. Senses that Lira might be there, but that's instantly swept out by the Skarner.
Yeah, I think that was very good instincts by PowerOfEvil. You can see that there were several wards on the bottom side of the river that he was cheating towards, so he knew he just had one spot left to ward, and he found Lira.
Here comes Lira up down to the bottom side now, though maybe not spotted. I think CLG have to sense that this is a possibility.
Yeah, there is enough mana for the Devour this time by Stixxay.
Cody 6, Vulcan not quite there.
They might be able to just burst out the Kench if they get the right type of pull.
Very tanky. Biofrost still going to expose himself. Vulcan goes forward. Now they know they have to devour. They will do it. Lira not going to commit the ulti just yet. They are going to go for the Kench, though. There's the suppression down. They have enough. It's Cody able to grab his second kill.
Yeah, that was a well-played gank by Clutch Gaming. I actually wonder if they could have had a 2-for-1 as soon as the Devour came in, if they would have just grabbed the suppression right there, but they were hoping to kind of solo out Biofrost Sona. Still, another good gank. That one continues the punishment. Biofrost does have his support item, so he's actually allowed to CS now without punishment. Still, 2-0 on Cody Sun is a great start for someone who won Player of the Series against Flyquest.
And Wiggily also moving himself down, but just to cover there as Vulcan did pop his own ulti, as I think Clutch were looking for a dive there onto the bottom lane. Biofrost, though, gonna grab his ulti in just a moment as Stixxay returns to the lane as well. But certainly working out well for Clutch here in the early game. Now up almost 1,500 gold as Damonte gonna get gifted the blue buff there by Lira.
Yeah, and 1,300 of that gold is Cody Sun versus Stixxay. The quote support gold between Biofrost and Vulcan right now is only a 200 difference for the Kleptomancy Sona. So from Clutch's perspective, they need to just keep pressuring around that bottom side. They have the teleport back onto Huni. They still have flash on Lira for the next time his ultimate is up. But CLG is actually earlier on this rotation to the Rift Herald, which is normally what Clutch Gaming rotates towards. And yeah, you can actually see Clutch Gaming's bottom lane has moved up, but CLG going on it early.
Yeah, right there on spawn, so a little bit faster here for CLG, rotating everyone over. PoE still keeping pressure in the mid lane. Big fight could possibly break out. Huni bottom lane, but he does have TP.
It's a little late, but here comes a fight.
Again, Rift Herald low, but not quite there. Ruin about to transform, looks for the ulti, finds two into the wall. Sejuani ult as well. Biofrost though misses his own ulti. And now Clutch on the counter attack. Front side, that's Wiggily going down. They find another route onto Stixxay. The Kench will in fact be benched as he goes down to Huni for the second.
They get the Rift Herald, but at what cost? Pastry time. That was such a disorganized fight by CLG, and really, this Stixxay Biofrost Kench Sona is looking out of sorts. They do not seem in sync whatsoever. That was a whiffed Sona ultimate, and the continuation of this play looks even worse. This is a flashless, ultless Gnar.
Yep, in mini form, trying to hop away. Vulcan says absolutely not, and Cody Sun on a rampage, gonna grab kill number 4.
I mean, speaking about Mark Z earlier at the start of the day saying blue side should have the advantage in all these games. I typically agree, but this game 1 is just going so wrong for CLG. Watching Clutch, they actually disregard the Rift Herald, which does give them a bit of a jump on the play. The missed ultimate by Biofrost, unable to capitalize on Ruin's ult. Really no one on CLG was able to get in to do any damage, and the rest of Clutch Gaming is just able to free hit for basically the entire fight. Looked like Rift Herald actually already used, so CLG doesn't get really anything out of that play aside from a charge mid lane.
Yeah, it was pop mid for a couple plates, so 2 taken off that section of the turret, but not worth the value they just lost in the ensuing fight. Biofrost still here in top lane now, as CLG trying to grab a few more plates before they fall off in 2 minutes time, but Huni's not too worried about this particular 1v2. Lira's actually going to start up the Mountain Drake as a result. Vulcan may be caught here by Wiggily, but can go back over the wall. In fact, maybe just going to start a fight here. Permafrost on Wiggily will find the stun, but Wiggily getting low, can't contest with this Drake. Clutch Gaming continuing to have a stranglehold over this early game.
Yeah, they are completely steamrolling it, and this looks a lot more like the first 2 games of their 3rd place match than it does the last 3, where Clutch Gaming has almost all of the control. They're the first ones to initiate each play, even from level 2, which was a missed execution play. It's something they should have lost, either a lot of tempo on or set them behind. Ruin is still down in CS. Huni was effectively unpunished for burning his flash and teleport at 2 minutes. That's absolutely something that I would expect CLG to punish. Like, they see Huni uses his flash teleport at level 2, Wiggily just paths topside, and the next time Huni pushes in, you kill him, because the Skarner's not going to be level 6 until that long. But it feels to me like CLG is sleeping or rusty or something, because the bottom lane seems out of sorts, and they're not taking advantage of the windows that have existed in this game, which is allowing Clutch to just take shot after shot after shot, hit some of them, and be up 4,000 gold.
I mean, Clutch are one of the most proactive teams in the league this split. And CLG, you know, maybe a bit more tempered, but not like this, especially in the bottom lane. I feel like so much of their success came from being aggressive and picking winning lane matchups to then leverage that advantage into the mid game. But they've kind of let Cody just take control of the game, and that is exactly what he has done. 100% kill participation, a blisteringly fast Essence Reaver plus Executioner's Calling. I mean, Xayah is one of the best champions on this patch, and Cody's been set up to continue his run in this postseason.
Yeah, when I was watching the LPL finals, Uzi and LWX, the two best AD carries in that region, Kaisa was the unanimous first pick in all those games because Xayah was banned every single time. So by far, I think the best ADC on this patch is Xayah, and aside from Doublelift, the hottest AD carry in the NALCS in terms of recent performance has been Cody Sun. So has a good pick, has a good start, has a good champion, and Clutch is in great position in this game.
Yeah, up 4K at this stage. As you can see, the turret plate's pretty close, but the rest of the gold certainly going in Clutch's hands this go-round. They've even got that first tower. Looks like they took out bottom lane just a few moments ago. And I imagine Clutch will just continue to be proactive here. I mean, if CLG are looking for some sort of mid-game with the Sona Tahm Kench, which is what you expect when you pick a lane like this, CLG going to have to make something happen in the next 5 to 10 minutes, it feels like.
Yeah, there is still, I think, a chance that if the gold lead were to freeze at 4,000 for the next 15 minutes, that CLG's late game would still be extremely good with the damage that Azir can put out once he has 4 or 5 items. But just for now, how squishy Biofrost is, the fact that a lot of the Sona lanes do just look for that kind of first or second team fight and how badly they've lost those, they really do need to hold on. And here comes Lira with Flash and Ultimate, although there is very good ward control from CLG knowing they have completed 2 Sightstones.
That is quite the security system there in top lane. Lira, I think maybe just was like, yeah, they're moving away already. Oh, Huni with a missed ulti. Ruin able to juke up, hop himself over the wall to safety, but with that Trinity Force completed, Ruin is not getting maybe what he wanted in this 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, they did decide to blind pick Gnar. It was something they saw Huni play very well yesterday. It is a pick that I think is picking up steam in more places than just the LCS. We're seeing it more and more throughout regional playoffs and regional qualifiers, but it is not without its weaknesses, and I think Irelia is one of the picks that's very good against it.
CLG just going to have to hold on. Figure out who received the blue.
Yeah, Wiggily looks like he got the smite, so good job maintaining that buff.
Ooh, PowerOfEvil's getting harassed.
Yeah.
By Damonte here in
Here comes
lane.
Predator.
Lira. Wiggily gonna get play bodyguard here as Lira cannot connect. But Damonte has quietly had a very good landing phase for himself. The early parts of the lane we saw, he was just getting shoved in by the early power of Azir. But now working out well as another fight gonna maybe brew here. Vulcan pops the quickness on the Wiggily, who does get rooted by the feathers. But Sejuani, all burnt, does not find a stun. Clutch continuing to play aggressive here in mid lane.
Yeah, the confidence that Vulcan had with that play in a 2v3 shows how much power Cody Sun currently has.
They just force down mid lane. Usually a tough turret to break against a champion like Azir with the Ludens, but Clutch make it look fairly straightforward. Just band up together, knock it down, and continue to grow that gold lead. Biofrost left farming here in mid lane. Only level 8, my goodness.
Yeah, against...
It just keeps getting worse the longer I look at the scoreboard.
12 Lux. I mean, there is still Stixxay being able to save Biofrost Sona if he gets jumped on, but then what are you really doing with that lane if your only purpose is to save the Sona from death? We need Biofrost to continue to get farm, proc a support item, really get up to the Lich Bane where Sona starts being effective, because until that happens, it is going to be Clutch dictating the pace.
Well, Clouddrake over to Clutch. CLG, no real business trying to contest, so Clutch just swoop in and take the objective they have rightfully earned from the advantage they've built up. PowerOfEvil going to be under attack here. Lira ready with Impale. PowerOfEvil going to put up his Sun Turret, but ooh, that will actually deter them for now.
Got a lot of soldiers. Oh no.
Actually looking for Cody maybe. Just forces them out. 1v3, I guess 1.5v3. Wiggily also rotating down. Clutch get out of there very quickly.
Wow. Very surprising turn of events right there. If Clutch wasn't going to try and dive PowerOfEvil when he throws 3 soldiers in front of them, you shouldn't put 3 people down there, in my opinion. I'm surprised that Clutch actually backed off on that play. But well played by PowerOfEvil to immediately respond by positioning all 3 of his soldiers right towards Clutch Gaming's dive path. That's a lot of pressure that Clutch spent trying to make that play happen.
And I think we can look to PowerOfEvil here for CLG. You mentioned it already, he's definitely the big carry in this composition on a champion he's very comfortable with. Now maybe going to give CLG their first turret of the game. Damonte going to try and clear out the wave, but can't get the cannon in time. PowerOfEvil still some time to get this turret down, but Azir, take a while. push down the turrets. It's been a long time since that W change, so has to do it manually now.
Azir no longer the turret pusher he once was.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, looks like we're going to see a trade on the other side, though. Wiggily is shadowing, so Huni playing very safely. Wiggily hoping that Huni tries to do an all-in. Huni doesn't actually have the vision control and is a very aggressive player, but Clutch playing quite smartly. Still 0 deaths, 19 minutes into the game. And look at that difference, 1,300 gold at 20 minutes.
And that's with the level 2 TP that if you're just tuning in, that was a thing that happened. Huni tried to go down bot lane. It didn't work out, but it hasn't seemed to have stopped Clutch here. Still almost 20 minutes into this game and continuing to slowly but surely grow their advantage. It's Cody with 2 items now done. I mean, this will be some very quick pace towards the 3-item mark here for the Xayah. Cody is just snowballing almost out of control.
Yeah, he's getting closer and closer to IE. I do actually want to point out the Rakan build from Vulcan. He's gone with the Athenes, which is an item that I'm a fan of, but particularly when you have a super fed Xayah, I really want to see the Zeeks to just amp up his damage even more, because I feel like if you get the Infinity Edge power spike, get that Rakan ultimate off, that's usually what you see close out the game. But here we go.
Here goes Lira. Ruin able to hop away. Flash does not connect for Lira. Tries to impale Gnar. Ruin did have to burn his flash as well, though, so at least a trade there in the top lane. But Clutch continuing to look for picks with these cooldowns.
Yeah. They still have so much vision control and an Ocean Drake, so that was supposed to be a play for Clutch where they kill the Gnar, they start forcing Baron, and they get pick after pick there. They're still, though, able to try and force out vision and force CLG to check. There's just one blue trinket left on Biofrost that they have to spend, but here comes an engage.
Vulcan again, just knocking up Wiggily. Cody very aggressively postured forward. Biofrost going to get rooted down. Huni with an ulti finds a big flank. Going to keep moving in there, but the tower is in range. Huni going to get ulti, but Damonte just snipes Biofrost with the laser. Huni runs out. Impale lands in onto Wiggily, who's forced into stasis. Now on the flat, Cody able to take down PowerOfEvil with a bit of help from Vulcan, and Clutch just finding everything in this fight. Ruin back to join the fight, but he gets rooted. That might be a kill devour there from Stixxay to make sure he's safe. But Clutch find 3 kills, and straight to Baron they go.
Oh man, you can just see how strong Cody Sun is. He basically soloed PowerOfEvil along the side of that fight, and Clutch with the vision starvation, even if the pick in the top lane didn't work, this is exactly the play they should be running. They are playing exactly as they should right now, and this Baron just makes it go from bad to worse for CLG.
Yep, Clutch. This is a monumental lead at this stage. About 8k ahead. Let's watch this again. Huni with a monster flank here.
Yeah, so they do the initial engage with Vulcan, knowing that he's very strong and knowing that CLG doesn't actually have damage here. It's just the Sona, Kench, and Sej, so the ability to retaliate isn't there. Huni gets the first devour to Biofrost, which means Damonte can then just final spark him to death. At that point, you get a little nervous that Huni's pulling Wiggily towards a low health Huni, but it doesn't matter because once again, COD's damage wasn't in the fight. PoE got soloed out the side, and Ruin only arrives at the fight after it's over. So, well played by Clutch Gaming. CLG still not necessarily on the same page, and at this point, even if CLG is on the same page, it might not matter.
Yeah, Clutch, on the other hand, looking very well drilled from yesterday's series. Cody maybe going to get picked off here. Ruin, great ult from Cody to dodge the stun, and now they keep moving in. Wiggily going to move in for the ulti, but Vulcan tanks it. Now the counter engage happens. 2 in the front, get knocked off. Lira finds the pawn of Biofrost in the backside. They pull back Wiggily, take him down. Stixxay will be left for dead, and Huni with a max range stun going to chase down Biofrost as well. Cody dominating, and that's just the story for Clutch in this game.
They have an Infernal Drake that they can easily take. They have Baron minions already in the mid lane. Look, Cody teleported there. Why not? There's no one to stop him from free hitting these turrets. Clutch Gaming actually going to be able to take 3 objectives at once. Mid lane turret, bot lane turret, and Infernal Drake.
Well, value always good if you can get it. Huni threatening PowerOfEvil, barely going to miss that stun. Clutch still pushing in, but they pause in the action.
Yeah. I hope this is a quick one.
Same.
It is a 10,000 gold lead with one team recently having Baron and long death timers on the other side. So it feels like Clutch Gaming is ready to wrap this one up with how dominant they have been. And as soon as we get word on what this pause is about, we will relay.
Certainly will. Well, with that, we are going to get a replay of the last fight queued up. Have a look at how Clutch navigated this one. Seems like Cody may be a little too far forward.
Yeah, he had his Xayah ult, and the rest of the team was able to come in. He actually doesn't get hit by a single bit of CC, as Vulcan is pretty consistent at being able to take these Sejuani ultimates. And then from that point, since PoE still doesn't have a whole lot of damage, and since Ruin has been kept down most of the game and actually had to go Warden's Mail with the second item, the people who were supposed to be supplying the damage in this 5v5 constructed team composition for CLG haven't had the gold and just haven't had the opportunity. Every single member of their team has fallen behind, which is allowing Clutch Gaming to just run over.
Yep, and again, if you need a summary of where we're up to here in the pause, that little graphic on the screen should tell you. As you mentioned, at 10,000 gold ahead now for Clutch. Does seem like this game is all but over for the Nexus exploding. But of course, we will resolve this pause first before we get there. And you never know, but a very strong first game from Clutch.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to see how the rest of the series plays out from here, because it did feel like, from looking at the pre-series, that the blue side was going to have an advantage. That's what we saw in most games of the third place match. We thought the priority picks would be able to go over to CLG, and we thought that they were going to be playing around bot priority. But CLG decides to try and switch things up in game one. They go back to Sona Kench. Not only do they go back to Sona Kench, they swap up who plays what. They put Stixxay on the defensive Kench and Biofrost on the Sona. That has not worked at all. I feel like it has completely backfired on them. And then Clutch, who pulls out the Lux after a number of mid lane bans, is also doing something different, right? Because in the third place series, we saw Damonte generally only succeed on melees and PowerOfEvil only succeed on range. This is a range v range that Clutch is winning. If they would have done that, they might have swept CLG in the third place match. So CLG going to have to really regroup after this one.
I kind of like actually thinking and kind of watching this mid lane matchup unfold a little more, as the update is, as you can see, there is a bug investigation currently happening. PowerOfEvil experienced something. I'm not exactly sure what yet. As soon as I know, I'll be able to tell you. But we may be in for a slightly longer than expected pause here as we investigate all of that. But back to the mid lane. As I kind of watch this 1v1 unfold, I kind of like what they did in the draft. When I think about, Corki and Azir, we can probably get them to pick one of them. If we just prepare something for whichever side of the matchup we feel more comfortable on, Clutch clearly very prepared with this counter pick, to the point where they didn't bother picking it after Azir was picked in phase one, because they figured they're probably going to get it even after the second phase of bans. And even though, again, in the early game, it looked like Azir was still doing his thing, where he just perma-shoves you into turret and is very oppressive and tough to lane against, Damonte has navigated very well. And if Huni and Cody and Vulcan hadn't been doing quite as much as they've done this game, we'd probably be talking more about Damonte's performance.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also do want to say that the Skarner pick, which had become first pickable throughout their third place series, did fall through to Lira in phase two and was not punished whatsoever in the first 6 levels. Like, that's the reason oftentimes Skarner is deprioritized, is because he's, generally speaking, weak 1 through 6. So the Sejuani for Wiggily really needed to make something happen earlier on in the game. Particularly, I think, could have very easily gone top lane to kill Huni after he ran back up there without flash or teleport at level 2, but didn't find a single thing happening. So expect the Skarner priority to stay high throughout the rest of the series.
I mean, if you recall back to that draft, we did see a hover of the Lee Sin, which is maybe, and this is speculation, maybe a pick they were considering playing, which would be significantly stronger in those early levels. But I agree with you. Regardless of what champion you pick and when they're strong, your assessment of the game state needs to stay fluid.
Yeah.
And I think Huni got away with quite a lot after TPing at level 2.
Yeah.
And certainly more than he should have.
I mean, Huni playing with a ton of confidence. And this Clutch Gaming team as well, wanting to bounce back from what happened in Detroit. Because I got a chance to talk to Damonte after the series, and he thought that it was, even though it felt bad to get reverse swept by CLG in the third place match, it's good that they got reverse swept then compared to now, because their arrogance level was really, really high after they knocked TSM out of the playoffs, after they took Team Liquid to a 5th game, after they were up 2-0 against CLG. So the fact that they actually had some weaknesses exposed and it pushed them to try and do some new stuff, could have been a good thing. And very early on in the series, they have made some adaptations. We got to see it a little bit in the FlyQuest series with the Gnar, and we've gotten to see it here with the Lux. So if this stuff is to stay true throughout the rest of the series, it would be looking quite good for Clutch.
All right, well, with this pause, we're going to throw it back to Dash and the analyst desk to give us some more insight into this game.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. While league officials continue to investigate the reported bug on stage, we have some time to talk about this game as it stands midway through. Clutch in a very commanding position right now across that 20-minute mark, in a way reminiscent of how the series started last time around with a couple dominant first few games.
I mean, even more similar is the fact that CLG is just not drafting what people think they're synonymous with. Like, all split long CLG has had their best games when they have priority focused bot lanes, and they just go ahead in first game of the series.
They're trying to be Team Liquid, right? Team Liquid beat them with the Sona comp, but they're not.
Now, I've heard from these two plenty what they think about the drafting between these two teams, but Darshan, I haven't had the opportunity to have you on the desk to talk about this. So what is your opinion, before we talk actually about this draft and this game, about the way that each of these teams should be playing or drafting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't tune into every analyst desk segment, but as soon as I mentioned something about bot lane, these guys just started freaking out, and I would have to agree. I think that watching CLG all split, I feel like a lot of them doing well is just their bot lane performing, you know, having pressure in lane and using that in mid game. And I think Clutch, same story. Huni's teleporting bot lane level 2 to win his bot lane the game. So I definitely think the bot lane is the big story here, and I think that they should definitely be looking to get a better matchup than Sona Tahm Kench.
Yeah. All right, so Sona Tahm Kench is not necessarily what we wanted to see. And of all things, they actually throw Sona over to Biofrost, and they put Stixxay on Tahm Kench duty, which is interesting to say the least. But then referencing back over to the Clutch Gaming side of things, we do have the Lux coming out in the mid lane as a ranged response to that Azir, so perhaps a little bit of an adjustment here for Clutch Gaming in terms of what they're willing to throw Damonte on to deal with PowerOfEvil on his safer scaling picks.
It's pretty good because you have the wave clear, the setup for your ganks, but you can actually also help the side lanes a little bit more than somebody like an Azir can. You just need to roam up to the Raptor camp, and suddenly you can laser the top lane or the bottom lane from there. So it's a pretty strong pick now that Lux has been shifted away from support into the mid lane. Remember, not a lot of people have actually played this pick after it's been shifted away, so we don't know how strong this mixed Lux can be.
And both side lanes are also relatively interested in getting jungle attention. Irelia can eventually get kill threat when Gnar is mini. You have bot lane, who obviously wants to punish the Sona Tahm Kench. So having a less resource-intensive mid laner and less volatile mid laner is, in this situation, something I'm definitely looking forward to for Clutch, because you don't always want to have all three lanes wanting the jungler's time.
Yeah, without a doubt. And of course, we can talk about the top lane too. The idea that the Gnar, having been a pick shown by Huni yesterday, this time around was picked up by Ruin. So I'll be very curious to see how Champion Select develops throughout the day, whether or not this will be a highly contested pick or if it really just trade hands, you know, throughout the day, as there are things like the Irelia that is clearly a comfortable response for Huni into the Gnar.
I mean, I'm looking at the score right here, 23 minutes. That's a 10,000 gold lead.
This one feels pretty doomed.
That looks like a perfect game in the making. Like 11-0.
There's no dragons on there. CLG has
dragons. Yeah.
CLG got just the one, right? The Infernal?
Yeah, the first
Infernal. Off the top, and then now we have a Cloud and a Mountain Drake in favor of Clutch. What was that?
These were the kinds of games that gave Clutch the overconfidence that ended up being their downfall. So starting off so hot in the best of 5 against a team that's already reversed up to you is not the best place to go into.
Right. I mean, as a CLG fan, if you were watching, you wouldn't feel that worried considering how badly the other series started, and they came back just fine in that one. So CLG, we've said it a couple times now, even in their C9 series, they just feel like a really slow starting team. It takes them a game or two, it feels like, to ramp up into a series. This is actually just perfectly in line with that.
Down 0-2 is their best.
Yeah, they're like, now we're doing it.
I don't know if anybody wants to be in that
position. You don't
position.
want to.
But they've at least proven to themselves that they can dig their way out of that kind of hole. As I say that, I'm being told we are heading into game. I'm going to wait for the gameplay to show up on my screen to confirm.
You want to be live
to? Oh, damn. I thought I was going to time that perfectly, guys. There it is. So with that, we're tossing it back to the casters for the call. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dash. All right, so bit of a momentum stopper for the momentum riders in Clutch, but given the lead, don't think it's going to put too much slowdown on this train.
Yeah, I mean, everyone on CLG just respawned after Clutch Gaming won the team fight, took the Infernal Drake, took the mid lane turret, took the bot lane turret. So it is a natural reset, but they still have a good amount of time left on this Baron power play and still the 11,000 gold lead. So depending on if they want to keep playing with the same level of confidence that they have been, they may look to dive something. So expect something like a 4-1 to be set up with Huni pushing mid lane and the other 4 people on Clutch Gaming pushing bot lane. Huni will threaten the mid lane turret. If they send too many people, they'll look to crash down bottom lane. So also a possibility, Vulcan just engaging 4v4, but here comes the siege where Clutch is hoping to close the game.
You can see Vulcan and Lira together just sweeping out vision, making the jungle nice and dark as Clutch is setting up the pushes in these lanes. Cody here getting that set up. As you mentioned, Huni is in mid lane, so there is the full one here for Clutch. CLG, I think, they need to try something soon.
Yeah, so they're just hoping to get a pick. Whenever CLG stopped these in the past, it's been all inning on basically whenever an AD carry steps up to kill it. Cody is without flash, but he still has his ultimate, so it'll be very difficult. Really, the reason CLG is sitting in the middle with their controller is they're trying to be as unpredictable as possible, but if they don't see a look, their turrets are just going to die.
Yeah, you can see Cody got plenty of support around him. Even Damonte here with a decent amount of AP can kind of play secondary support here. So Clutch are just going to barrel down the bottom lane here, knock down that inhib, and that's one down. Going to rotate back over to mid and try and make a second happen.
Yeah, the only delay here is you would like to, again, put pressure on an outer turret, and that top lane minion wave is too far away. But you can see them actually pinging it, hoping to wait for it to come in. And they're going to actually run the same play that they just ran mid-bot, but instead do it top mid.
Yep, still have a tower to chew through there in top lane, but that shouldn't take too long for Huni and the rest of the squad. The Clutch just going to delay their rotations a little bit longer. Still have Baron for a little bit, I believe, although it may have worn off by now.
Oh, wow. PoE got chunked out by Damonte's Final Spark, so gives them a bit of time, but knowing that the Lux ult is also down, and the Baron buff has expired means this push may be the end of it, but they're going to stay up and try.
Lux ult also doesn't stay up on cooldown for very long.
Yeah, true.
Especially that Damonte is now level 16, so can be used as kind of a quick poke tool. Damonte has been frighteningly accurate with the skill shot so far, especially on his mid lane opponent. Looks like Clutch may believe that they'll need a little bit more to get it done, so it looks like a reset's coming for the team. They'll buy up, go back around, and Baron's up in a minute 30 if that's the next objective they'd like to play for, but feels like this is maybe, it should be one Baron away, if even that, from Clutch closing this out.
Absolutely. There's still no Lich Bane on Biofrost Sona, so just another reminder of how wrong this game has gone. CLG has come back from 10,000 gold deficit, so it's why you don't see them completely throwing in the towel. They do seem to have a good mentality even when down by huge amounts of gold, but this is, I'd say, at least a 95% win chance for Clutch Gaming to try and close this one out.
Yeah, one inhib, certainly not panic stations just yet, but it's kind of the rest of the play that you know is coming as Ruin forced to hop over the wall. Can't even really safely take the wolf camps without Vulcan poking him. And looks like Clutch just continuing to set up the play. Huni pushing down top. Again, either you get a kill and you win the game, or you get a tower, or you get the Baron if nothing else happens. Clutch have every avenue open right now.
They're still going to take damage on the turrets if they can get it, because the actual engage by CLG isn't amazing. They get the ult for an ult out of Cody Sun, which is okay, but also means they will have no Sejuani ult if they want to contest Baron.
Cody's flash also back up in 22 seconds. So Cody will have another tool of safety. Damonte steals the blue buff away. And Clutch just going to stack here in mid, maybe try and find a fight to just finish the game off swiftly. Lira looking for Wiggily, who goes over the wall. Skarner is so fast! Wiggily forced to burn the flash as well.
Yeah, so now there's an ultless, flashless jungler, and Clutch has good control wards. So a very well played Baron setup. It is easier to do things exactly right when you have an 11,000 gold lead and you can just bully the other team around the map, but nothing CLG could do to stop it.
And Lira had flash, like he could have overcommitted potentially to try and ult Wiggily, but Clutch realized they get what they want. They're able to very easily retreat and take Baron. They'll take their resets to spend their final little bits of gold. Cody has 4 items and Clutch are ready to seal this game.
Yeah, Huni also gone with the Death Dance on Irelia instead of the Tiamat build that you see a lot of other people do. I feel like that is more so he can keep constant threat onto Ruin. in a 1v1 situation, since that is generally what Clutch is doing. Huni isn't team fighting on Irelia. He doesn't have to. He's just applying split push pressure. And now they will run the 4-1, which means 4 people top lane, 1 person mid, going down for those next 2 turrets.
And again, not many structures that Clutch need to knock down. He's coming in the first push here with the 4 from Clutch here on top lane. Already took down the tier 2. That was basically a footnote in this siege. Now Cody forward, very aggressive. Damonte continuing to poke, gets a good chunk of Stixxay's health out. And that tower's going down. In fact, Huni almost finishes off the mid as well with a bit of help from that cannon creep. And the Baron buff. All right, CLG, when do you try and pick your final fight? Because it's coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, Ruin's Mega Gnard right now, that was it. That was the attempt.
Wiggily again tries it. Cody, ulti back up. Too quick on the reactions there. Clutch still have to put the finishing touches on these inhibs, but top will fall, mid will follow soon after. I mean, might be Biofrost time to throw it an ulti. There it is onto Cody! They're going to try and find the dab, but he flashes out of there. Sona dead instantly. Wiggily going to get low. Good devour there. Onto Ruin by Stixxay, but Lira flashes in as Clutch know that this is going to be the game. CLG tried to find a fight that could keep the game afloat, but everything sinks here in game 1 as Clutch just take over and dominate for a game 1 win.
14-2-0 pastry time. Total domination by Clutch Gaming in game 1 of this regional qualifier. Semi-final for Clutch Gaming. That was a display by them. A lot of mistakes by CLG, and a lot of learnings are going to take to game 2. I do not expect all 3 games of the series to go this way, but as far as game 1 is concerned, CLG did not look like CLG, and Clutch looked like peak Clutch.
Certainly did. Well practiced, well drilled, and absolutely spectacular in that game. Not quite perfect. Maybe we'll call it flawless.
The one Infernal
and the 1 Rift Herald that CLG got, and then lost.
They charged. They got some plates.
Dead. All right. Well, for more on how Clutch took over game 1, let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. Once again, welcome to Darshan, joining us here to break down this series
Glad to be here.
as it happens. We're very glad to have you. We got to talk about it already at that 23-minute mark during the pause, and Clutch was already in a very commanding position. Didn't take them too much longer to close it out from there. So really what I want to do is talk about everything before that 23-minute mark, starting once again in the draft. While we already hit some things, there's actually a lot to dig in here, and I'm going to start with you, Darshan. Continued thoughts on the way that this broke down.
Yeah, so again, I think bot lane's the most important thing. I think it was smart by Clutch to last ban the Caitlyn, so they weren't ready to react to it. But then from CLG, why would you first pick Azir, you know? If Clutch takes Azir first pick, you have so many mages for PowerOfEvil to play. Pick Xayah, take the strong bot lane, or even take away the Skarner from Lira. I've watched so many games of NA playoffs, and every single game I'm like, I wonder what Lira's gonna play, and it's Skarner again. No big surprise. So I think that's another great pick to take away. Like, I thought CLG would be more prepared coming to this first game because you have so many games of data, and they even have Tafa who does all the stats, right? If you're looking at those stats, you see the Skarner, you see champions like the Xayah Rakan. I think you want to be, you'll realize you got to take those away. So.
You know, statistically speaking, Jab brought it up on the cast as well. The fact that in China, it's Xayah, Kai'Sa first picks, left, right, and center. Mm-hmm. Everyone's picking these 2 champions. They're banning them out. Nowhere to be found. Where's the Kai'Sa at? Where's the priority on these kinds of champions that these regions that have just won Worlds last year are picking up? But we know Stixxay can play it, but for some reason the focus is on him on Sona.
A lot of people have started also, if someone takes the Xayah early like they did here, you take the Rakan plus 1 thing, like you're saying, the Kai'Sa, Sivir, these other options that you have. And then, yes, you're going to get counterpicked with the Leona. You know that's coming, but you can pick your AD to be one that is good into it. Some people sometimes go Ezreal to try and avoid it. And so you know what's coming, and you have to kind of trade these blows out where you're like, okay, their draft makes it so they're going to get the Xayah, unless we first pick it, which they probably should have done. But instead, they just completely opt out of trading picks, and they go, we'll go this stuff with the, Tahm, Kench, and Sona. And that's not the best CLG we've seen.
Yeah, just a very peculiar draft to work through here. And it is, again, very reminiscent of the 3rd place matchup where both teams are really trying to find their footing within this best of 5 meta. But I now want to roll that forward into the actual gameplay because as you cited in that pause, Huni is very willing to use his teleport aggressively. So aggressively that he'll come down here to the bot lane, level 2, level 3, and find nothing.
It's crazy. I see him doing this all the time in playoffs, and I think it's actually great because it shows how much Clutch Gaming is playing like a team. I think this is the kind of team you want to send to Worlds. When I see a team making plays like this constantly because they know they're playing off their bot lane and they want to get their bot lane prio, even if it doesn't work, time and time again, they're just going after it. And you see them here getting the 2v2 kill late.
I'd say it did work, right? You put enough pressure in the bottom lane, have them play far back, get their summoners, then you can return for the kill.
Yeah, and I mean, it did give a small advantage to CLG because the TPs were mismatched. There was this opportunity for them to grab an Infernal Drake, but they didn't lose anything else off of it, so Huni kind of recovered his CS deficit from his TP, and then you can continue making plays on the bot side like they did when the Infernal Drake, like, yeah, you're scaling Azir, Infernal Drake is scary, but the game ended at 28 minutes or whatever it was. It never came online.
Yeah, never got allowed to scale there, and we saw the Skarner coming in once he hit that level 6 to continue to abuse the bot lane, so definitely.
I know, Bio.
Was just but comedy of errors right there.
The same thing happened in previous CLG games where Bio gets put on the champion that does not have enough agency to make their own plays, where he needs to be babysit. That is not the pick that works for CLG. I don't know how many times we need to hammer this home. Thresh, that kind of champion, was what got them that third place match win, but put him on Sona. Put our best player on Sona.
I mean, they tried to put him on the champion with more agency in the bot lane.
Of the two.
Right. I know a lot of people were like, why is Stixxay on the Tahm Kench? It's because I think they wanted the flash ult in Biofrost's hands. So I can understand that line of reasoning, but he didn't look...
Yeah, you don't want to see crescendos like that if you're going to switch up the roles. So I think that's the last time they're going to do that.
You would not put Core JJ on Soraka. You wanted him a playmaker.
I don't know. I put Core JJ on anything he wants to play, if I'm being honest. That's just he's in his own tier, though. For everyone else, we're going to be a little bit more rigid in our thinking. But, all right, let's talk about how CLG snaps back in this one. Now, let's not let it get to the 2-0 like it got to in Detroit. So where's the answer? Bot lane is obviously a big talking point. Xayah hasn't been of top priority in a lot of our series so far. So, assuming that doesn't magically rise to the top, what is instead the answer?
So I think we're probably going to see sides being switched. So
I'll let you know when I know.
Over to red or blue most likely. And CLG on red should have the option of picking the bottom lane right away if they really want for a very strong power pick. So if you can let something go through that Clutch Gaming is going to snatch up, then you can take 2 picks on your own, maybe get a Xayah Rakan if you really want, ban out the Morgana or the Caitlyn like we saw in the last ban that happened on red side, and get yourself a really powerful bottom lane. Worst case scenario, let it go all the way to the last one and counter pick an AD or a support.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they got 0 counter picks on blue side, yes, red side is the counter pick side, but you should still get 1. They first pick their Azir, then they take their bot lane, then they take Gnar first. So they basically got counter picked in some sense in all 3 lanes, which is a little concerning. And hopefully now on red side, they'll at least get 1 of them. I would like to see Ruin given a chance to finally counter pick. I assume the Rumble ban will be the one that they're most keen on keeping from blue side for CLG. I assume that means they're leaving up Qiyana, and we'll probably see if they want to try that Diana counter again.
Which individual player...
Hopefully not.
Please, no.
Which individual player do you think is the most important to CLG, like, turning it on here in this series?
I think I'm really looking at Stixxay. I think that even if they're not on the pressuring bot lane, I'd really like to see him on Ezreal. I think that's the one champion where if you're not picking a winning bot lane, he can scale into the mid game, and you can still carry those team fights, right? And I really want to see it from him and from the CLG bot lane, and I think that's what they've relied on all season, right? Go back to your tried and true, and I think they can do it. I think the series has more than what they showed in Game 1.
And I think that AD carry pick does align with your thinking when it comes to allowing Biofrost some more agency. Both get him a better pick, for himself in that sense, but hey, Ezreal I can leave on an island to some degree and go make plays elsewhere on the map. Now, Clutch showed up in Game 1. We'll see if they can keep the momentum going when we return, so don't go anywhere.
I think that was Clutch saying we don't want to play top.
Oh, no, Biofrost! Dead to Cody Sun. Biofrost misses his own ulti. And now Clutch on the counter-attack. Front side, that's Wiggily going down. They find another route onto Stixxay. The Kench will, in fact, be benched as he goes down. The tower is in range. Huni going to get ulti, but Damonte just snipes Biofrost with the laser. Huni runs out. Impale lands in onto Wiggily, who's forced into stasis. Now on the flat, Cody able to take down
they're going to go for Baron.
Stixxay will be left for dead, and Huni with a max range stun going to chase down Biofrost as well. Cody dominating. They're going to try and find the Devour, but he flashes out of there. Sona dead instantly. Wiggily going to get low. Good Devour there. Onto Ruin by Stixxay, but Lira flashes in as Clutch know that this is going to be the game.
When you're chasing greatness, just remember, it's not about what you say. It's about what you do.
Yeah, got a pretty big fender bender here.
Don't worry, State Farm's got you covered.
That's great to hear. Robin, what's going on?
Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I think so.
We're gonna get you a tow truck, Mike.
Thank you. Real fender bender going on here. Fender bender. Fender bender. Fender bender. Fender bender. Everybody remain calm. No reason to panic.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.